Today, we're diving into one of the 20th century's most controversial romances, the relationship between Jacqueline Kennedy and Aristotle Onassis. Behind the glamorous photographs and newspaper headlines lies a complex story of power, tragedy, and family drama that forever changed the Onassis legacy. When America's grieving widow married one of the world's richest men, it shocked the world. But what really happened behind closed doors? And how did this union devastate Aristotle's daughter, Christina? Before understanding their controversial marriage, we need to understand who Jackie and Ari were before their paths crossed. Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy was America's beloved First Lady, known for her grace, style, and dignity. After President Kennedy's assassination in 1963, she became an icon of strength in tragedy. Aristotle Onassis, meanwhile, had built a shipping empire from nothing. Born in Turkey to Greek parents, he fled during the Greco-Turkish War and eventually became one of the world's wealthiest men. By the time they met, Onassis was already notorious for his relationship with opera diva Maria Callas, one of the most famous women in the world. Their passionate affair had scandalized international society, especially as Onassis was still married to Tina Livanos, mother of his children, Alexander and Christina. What many don't realize is that Jackie and Ari actually met years before their romance. In 1963, just months before JFK's assassination, the Kennedys were guests aboard Onassis's famous yacht, the Christina. According to multiple sources close to the Kennedys, this wasn't merely a social call. President Kennedy had concerns about his wife's mental health following the death of their infant son, Patrick. The cruise was meant as a restorative getaway. Onassis, always calculating, saw hosting the American president as a business opportunity. Little did he know, this meeting would alter the trajectory of his life. What's often left out of the official narrative is that Jackie's sister, Lee Radziwill, had been romantically involved with Onassis before introducing him to Jackie. Some historians believe Lee had hoped to marry Aristotle herself, a dream that would be shattered when her own sister became the object of his affection. After President Kennedy's assassination, Jackie was thrust into a nightmare of grief and public scrutiny. She feared for her children's safety and longed for privacy. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Robert Kennedy, Jackie's brother-in-law, had become her closest confidant and protector. Many in their inner circle believed their relationship had evolved beyond family bonds. When Robert Kennedy was assassinated in 1968, Jackie was devastated once again. Within months, she would announce her engagement to Aristotle Onassis. Jackie's famous quote reveals her state of mind. "If they're killing Kennedys, my children are targets. I want to get out of this country." Onassis offered what she desperately needed: security, privacy, and protection, all financed by his immense wealth. On October 20th, 1968, Jackie Kennedy and Aristotle Onassis married on Scorpios, his private island in Greece. She was 39, he was 62. America was stunned. Jackie Kennedy, their grieving Madonna, had married a divorced Greek businessman with a reputation for ruthlessness and womanizing. The press was merciless, with headlines calling her Jackie O and suggesting she had betrayed Kennedy's memory. What the public didn't know was that this marriage was largely one of convenience. According to multiple biographers and confidants, Jackie and Aristotle negotiated specific terms before their wedding. Their prenuptial agreement was extraordinarily detailed, even specifying how often they would see each other. Jackie received $3 million up front and would receive $150,000 annually for herself and $50,000 for each of her children. In exchange, Onassis gained the ultimate status symbol, marriage to one of the world's most famous and admired women. Perhaps no one was more devastated by this union than Christina Onassis. At just 18 years old, Christina had already experienced her parents' bitter divorce and her mother's suicide. She viewed Jackie as an opportunist. Christina reportedly told friends, "My father loved names, and Jackie was the biggest name of all." She believed Jackie had married her father solely for his money and resented her presence. What's rarely discussed is how deeply Christina feared Jackie would divert her inheritance. Christina had been raised to continue the Onassis empire, a responsibility she took seriously. She saw Jackie as a threat, not just emotionally, but financially. The relationship between Christina and Jackie deteriorated rapidly. They avoided each other when possible, and when forced together, the tension was palpable. Staff members reported screaming arguments behind closed doors. Christina once confronted her father, saying, "It's her or me." Aristotle, however, refused to choose. By most accounts, the marriage quickly became one in name only. Jackie spent most of her time in New York with her children, while Aristotle traveled the world on business. Within 2 years of their marriage, Aristotle had resumed his relationship with Maria Callas. This was an open secret in their social circles, yet Jackie chose to look the other way. According to Maria Callas's personal assistant, Onassis would visit her Paris apartment regularly. He once confided, "I married the widow of a president, but I still love Maria." Jackie, meanwhile, built a separate life focused on her children and career in publishing. The couple sometimes went months without seeing each other. What cemented the end of any real marriage was the death of Alexander Onassis, Aristotle's only son, in a plane crash in 1973. Aristotle was devastated and, according to close friends, blamed his marriage to Jackie for bringing a Kennedy curse onto his family. After Alexander's death, Aristotle became depressed and bitter. His health deteriorated rapidly. Christina took a more prominent role in the business, while her father withdrew from public life. Jackie and Aristotle saw each other rarely in his final years. When he died in 1975, Jackie was not at his bedside. According to his staff, his last coherent words were about Maria Callas, not his wife. Following his death, the battle over his fortune began. Christina fought fiercely to minimize Jackie's claim to the estate. After lengthy negotiations, Jackie accepted a settlement of $26 million, far less than she might have received under Greek law. Christina took control of her father's empire, but found little happiness. She married and divorced 4 times and struggled with depression and weight issues. When she died in 1988, at just 37 years old, many said she never recovered from the trauma of her father's marriage to Jackie. After the Onassis chapter closed, Jackie returned to life as Jackie O in New York. She worked as an editor and protected her privacy fiercely until her death in 1994. Looking back, historians see the Jackie-Aristotle marriage differently than the scandal-hungry public did at the time. It was a union of 2 traumatized people seeking something the other could provide: security for Jackie, status for Aristotle. The marriage left lasting wounds on the Onassis family. Christina never found peace with her father's choices. The Onassis fortune eventually passed to Alexander's only child, Athena, who grew up never knowing her grandfather or the drama that surrounded his famous marriage. The affair that began on a yacht and ended in tragedy and bitterness reminds us that behind the glamour of famous names and enormous wealth often lies complicated human stories of love, pain, and compromise.